guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Dick Norris Buick GMC in sunny Palm Harbor, Florida, because guess what? We have something very unique. This is a 2008 Dodge Viper. But before we get into this Viper, let's talk a little bit about the history of this iconic V10. Yes, 10-cylinder sports car. It all goes back to 1991 was the public debut of the car. It actually paced the Indy 500 and was driven by none other than Carroll Shelby. Carroll Shelby, so synonymous with Ford and the Cobra, and of course the GT350 and GT500. Guess what? Carroll Shelby was very influential in designing this car, especially because he was brought over to Dodge by Lee Iacocca, who was the president at the time. Now, the Dodge Viper first hit the streets in 1992. It was known as the RT10. RT standing for Road and Track, and that was a no-nonsense, bare-bones connection back to the original 427 Cobras. You didn't have side windows, roll-up windows. You didn't have outside door handles, none of that. It was bare-bones V10 sports car. 2008, there have been some amenities added. Yes, you do have side window glass. We do have outside door handles, but one thing is for sure, you still have that great V10 engine that's going to produce gobs and gobs of horsepower. So let's go ahead, dive into this 2008 Dodge Viper convertible and see that connection to the original Cobra, but really answer a question. If you want a used sports car, should you go the Viper route? Because remember, for this kind of money, you could go a lot of different ways. Does the Viper hit that sweet spot for such a unique driving experience? Right off the bat, you notice the big, long front nose because of all of that 10-cylinder goodness underneath that hood. Headlight design, it really has that Viper, that snake look. Even from the first gen to this 2008 and all the way to the final year of the Dodge Viper, really kept a snake appearance to it. I like the shape of the headlight design. You do have projector beam headlights. When we're looking at this car, you gotta go back 2008. Remember, this is a 2008, that's 12 years ago. Down low, you do have your fog lamps. And then as we come across the front fascia, I really love the way the hood slopes down. Everything's gonna be fully functional, of course, because you have a massive radiator to cool all 10 of those cylinders. There's that iconic Viper badge. And then the hood has really changed since the original. I think the hood on this 2008, much more aggressive than the one from 92. So you have your center ram scoop here. That's gonna force feed air into the intake and down into the intake plenum of this V10. I love the series of heat extractors, and this really gives it that snake appearance. Flat black racing stripes on this ruby red color really fits it well to a T. We get to wheel and tire. Now remember, 2008, things were a little bit different. This is an 18-inch wheel. That was your wheel option for this time period, but this is an 18-inch wheel. Love that machined aluminum finish. Up front, we're talking about 275. So you have 275 on the width, bright red 4-piston calipers with the Viper badge on it. Remember, braking technology in 2008, we were just on the cusp of getting to 6-piston calipers and carbon ceramic brake rotors, but you can see the nice large rotor, and that caliper bright red is gonna clamp down on that rotor, help you slow down. Going into the hood and down into the fender, we have our Viper SRT. Remember, street racing technology, SRT 10. That SRT is the arm of Dodge that were the ones responsible for developing, doing all the groundwork, getting this thing well engineered to be driven on the road. I love the way the fender is flared out. And I'm gonna have Tom kind of come around and just show you the unique style of having that aerodynamic aid and also to drag the heat out from underneath the hood, going to the famous side pipe exhaust. So if you know your Viper history, you would know that the original Viper had side exhaust. That was to tie it into that 427 Cobra look. Eventually, they got rid of the side pipes, that iconic thing. People were burning their legs. The sound was kind of off. They were running the exhaust out the back. For this 2008 model, they have the side exhaust and it sounds oh so good. We get to the rear. Now, The reason why I want to focus on the rear is that this rear tire is, believe it or not, a 345. So it's a 30 series sidewall. This is a 19-inch wheel. So you have 18-inch wheel up front, 19-inch wheel out back, and 345. This is basically a steamroller because you want to try to get the traction to the ground. There's not a lot of driver assistance aids like traction control in this 2008. Doesn't exist in this car. You're gonna have to be able to be real gingerly with that throttle, but hopefully those 345s will help you get the traction to the ground. We come out back, you have a nice low deck lid spoiler out here. I love the way the racing stripes come out on top of the spoiler. This is actually a functional piece to help give some downforce. And then we drop back, very clean, very simple. Now normally on older models, you would have the twin exhausts here. When they weren't doing the side exhaust, you'd have twin exhausts out back. But I love the way that this just makes room for a massive rear diffuser to help channel that air. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop that massive hood and take a look at that V10 power. All right, guys, you know, there's that old saying in the car passion, that car enthusiast culture of things, there's no replacement for displacement. Well, you're gonna find that with this engine. First, let's check out underneath the hood. You can see those functional heat extractors. There's that scoop where the air is gonna be force fed into that engine. But when we say no replacement for displacement, you're looking at a 512 cubic inch V10. Now for 2008, they actually boosted displacement up to 8.4 liters. It went from 8.3 to 8.4 liters. That may not seem like a big deal, but guess what? 600 horsepower, 560 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated through a row your own boat 6-speed manual transmission. So I hope you know how to dance, because if you're gonna get this car to work, you better be able to dance and dance well. This was the first car to have a twin plate racing style clutch from the factory. So it's got a twin plate clutch. It weighs around 3,455 pounds. Here comes the numbers that you want to hear. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds, quarter mile at 11.6 at 124 miles an hour. Top speed in the convertible 197. If this was a coupe, you're looking at 202 mpgs. If you're wondering about that, you're looking at the wrong car. But just to let you know, 13 in the city, 22 in the highway, on the highway. The wonderful news about this engine is when you pop the hood, you just see glorious motor. That intake plenum is drop dead sexy. No plastic covering it up. You could see the headers on the side, or the exhaust manifolds for those 10 cylinders, 5 on each side. Really just a thing of beauty and something to just be in awe of. Even the structural bracing that they put up front here to stiffen things up and try to get that V10 as far back to the firewall as they possibly can. Lots of engineering. I was at Daytona. I've seen these cars win overall the 24 hours of Daytona. One at Le Mans, one all over the world across the racetracks. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this V10 and see what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the 2008 Dodge Viper convertible. I know you're at that point, you're like, Joe, this looks like a fun car. This would be a perfect weekend car to go out and just have a blast. How much is it? Well, let me tell you what it was brand new. Brand new, it was around $89,000 MSRP for the convertible. They have it marked here at Dick Norris Buick GMC at $54,000. It only has 24,000 miles on it. But let's see what you get when you go the Dodge Viper route. Very, very minimalistic. So door panels have soft material, believe it or not, on the top and the bottom, which is great, but minimalistic. So if you're looking for all your different amenities with knobs and switches, you're not gonna get that. The previous owner did add a little bit of cherry wood grain, which is a nice touch to kind of brighten up the door panel a little bit. And you have that bright silver on the handle to pull the door shut. Getting into the Viper, you really kind of fall into it. You'll notice the very high sill, But what's nice is you're welcome with that Viper SRT badge every time you get in and out. Soft material on the dash, and the dash is pushed very far forward. It's almost like putting on a glove or your favorite pair of running shoes. That's what it's like getting into a Viper. All of this is the way it came in 2008. So you have your instrumentation, oil pressure, oil temp, all that good stuff as you come down. Simple on the radio. So very, very simple. This is how it used to be back in the day. No infotainment, no touch screens, no Bluetooth, none of that. Even the AC controls are very, very simplistic, but they're easy to use, which is great. You have your bright red engine start stop button, and then this is where the magic happens. That 6-speed, very, very mechanical, very, very short throws. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to share this drive. This is the first time I've ever driven a Dodge Viper, and I get to share it with you, and that's what makes it very special. When it comes to key, you do have a key because you have to ignite that ignition by turning the key and then pushing the button. It's got the Viper logo on it. And then you have your very simplistic lock, unlock, and then of course panic when you're about to crap yourself. That's what you hit. Good old-fashioned e-brake. These are your switches for your windows on your doors. Kind of hard on the armrest, but you open this up and you could probably lay about 4 Twinkies in there without, you know, squishing them, and you're gonna have a 12 volt in there. You could rock out to your Alpine sound system with the speakers right behind you, but in this car, you're crazy to even turn on any kind of radio or listen to anything else other than that V10. Seats, they look like they're out of a race car. Very high bolstering. You have leather, Alcantara, the Viper embroidery with the logo. You really just fall in, fit in, and slip into this car. Not a lot of room, but that's not what it's about. Go back, look at those AC Cobras. This is what it was like. A little bit more amenities, of course, and the cherry wood that the previous owner, a little bit of chrome trim. This is stuff that the previous owner added. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Dodge Viper. All right, guys, business time. I'm telling you, like I said, the height of the sill, the way to get into this car is to actually just take your butt and just drop right in. Steering wheel, great thickness, great size. You're not worrying about any kind of buttons on it, none of that. Very, very clean. The gauge is bright white. You have that tack right there in the center, speedometer, fuel gauge. And then the last thing I want to show you before we go for our drive are the pedals. The pedal box of this Viper is very unique. So first off, look at my left foot. This is the dead pedal. Clutch is very, very high, and then you have your brake pedal and throttle. One thing to be aware of, you see the tunnel here for the engine and transmission. That kind of makes it very tight in that foot box. So just something to be aware of in the Dodge Viper. But guess what? If you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Let's take this Viper with the V10 for a spin. All right, guys, we're in the Dodge Viper. We're about to leave Dick Norris Buick GMC. Right away, you just see that long hood, very, very stubby windshield. This really isn't made for comfort, but boy, is it made for having a drive like none other. Here we go, releasing that clutch. High release, holding on throttle, nice and gingerly, nothing crazy. Right into second gear, great sound. Nice, I love how the clutch, it has a very high pickup point, which is kind of annoying, but it actually allows you to be super smooth with it. The gearbox is so notchy and mechanical, it feels so great, and that V10 sounds like a sweet symphony. Amazing. Really smooth power delivery, with it being naturally aspirated. You're not waiting for anything. The torque just builds very, very smooth. Downshifts are great, a little bit of pop from that exhaust. In a second, nice. I'm really digging this Viper. It really is a fun car to drive, that's for sure. All right, guys, pulling away from this light, on throttle, here we go. In a second, really smooth. Let me change some lanes here. Here we go. Yeah! It really does. Let me put up the side windows. just a little bit here. I know we didn't show you the top up, but in this car, it's not about the top up. It's about top down fun with a V10. Steering is very tight. You do not have much room to move in this car. You really feel like you are in the perfect size shoe. But it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. And that V10, you're never gonna get bored of it, never. Ride is on the firm side, and just, it's cramped in that foot box. But I'm starting to get used to it. I think the more that you drive this car, you just kind of get used to the personality, and it just makes it a blast. Very, very unique driving experience by far. Let's see how she handles going in this right-hand bend here. Really smooth, down into second, really nice. Over some bumps, that's all right. Up the hill, here we go, nice and smooth. Woo! Wow, I'm telling you, the power is unbelievable in this car. The sound. I can't believe I'm driving a Viper after all this time, wanting to be behind the wheel of one. Second gear, on throttle, here we go. Wow. Unbelievable. On the brakes, pedal is firm. Remember, you don't have traction control on this thing, so you gotta be very, very gingerly with it, but super smooth. On throttle, here we go. Get this car, you get it, you know, you get it. And look at this, another Viper. What are the odds of that? So on your right is a bright yellow Viper. Let's roll down the windows here. Remember, the switches are in the center. We gotta wave. Day. This is what it's all about, sharing the passion, being out here in a Viper with another Viper behind us. It's a special car, and you're not going to get that for a lot of other sports cars in this price range. You drive a Corvette, sure, the performance is there, but how many times are you going to see a Viper? I mean, this is great. Wonderful experience. I'm so glad to share this with you, and that's what this car is about. It's not about the numbers, it's about how fun it is to drive. But we're going to get back to Dick Norris Buick GMC. I'll see you in a few seconds. All right, guys, it's been an amazing time with this Dodge Viper. Definitely got to thank Melvin, Adam, Andrew, Derek, the rest of the crew here at Dick Norris Buick GMC for allowing us access to this recently traded in. If you've been wondering, well, what did the previous owner trade this in for? They had a late model Stingray Corvette that this was traded in for that person to live out their Corvette dream. But definitely, if you're looking for something that's gonna stand out from the crowd, that gives you that old school feel and something a little bit newer, still 12-year-old car, but really where you are the commander of the ship, the captain, the commander, the crew, without a bunch of extra technology, this Viper V10 checks off all the boxes. But if it's performance cars like these that you want to see on the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Raise Rise merch. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, helping me get a lot of muscle underneath the hood of this car, a lot of muscle underneath the shirt of Tom Motioner. So thank you, Tom, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.